Welcome back to NSN Tonight, hanging out in the Legends Bay Lounge, powered by Circus Sports, and introducing you to our latest legendary athlete. He is Payton Talbott, 25 years old, and in the UFC, 1-0, 7-0 as a professional fighter. But let's talk about that UFC debut. It came just a couple months ago, fight night in Las Vegas. You won via a rear naked choke submission, and suddenly you're on the map, Payton. What has the last couple months been like for you?
It's been super fun. People have just shown a lot of love and a lot of support, so that's been really cool. But I've just gotten right back to training as soon as possible. I took like 2 weeks off, tried to surf, didn't do too well, but yeah, it's been really fun.
Glad you got to at least try to enjoy yourself a little bit before getting back to it. Let's go way back if we could. And when did you start fighting? I mean, were you doing this as a kid, or when did you kind of get into the cage?
I didn't start fighting until I was like 18, like right after high school. I've always got into little fights with my friends like here and there, but nothing serious until about 18 was when I really started training.
Okay, so you're at a Reno high school. You did wrestle for the Huskies. I'm sure there's some of that background still involved, obviously, in your mixed martial arts. What kind of switched at 18 to say, all right, I think I can get in the octagon and make some noise?
I wanted to wrestle in college, but I just didn't want to commit to that student-athlete lifestyle. But conveniently enough, I found MMA, and it was just way more fun than just wrestling to me. And I guess coincidentally, I became a student athlete, but just not tied to the school, you know?
Yeah, of course.
So there was much more freedom of being able to train and then go have my own life in college, keep them separate.
We certainly should mention that you did do that student life, and you do have a degree in psychology from the University of Nevada. How does that, I guess, play a role in your fighting, being a psych guy?
That just speaks for my passion. I just love learning about people, and the cage is the perfect place to learn about your opponent and someone very specifically.
I'll say. I guess if someone were to ask you, what's your fighting style? Like, what do you bring to the table?
I think I just bring to the table insane cardio, a high pace, and just adaptability. I usually try to pick on my opponent's strengths and weaknesses, and I like to beat them at their own game sometimes.
Some of the comments I've seen from people that follow fighting a little closer talking about you is just kind of your mentality, and you seem very focused and sort of stoic. I mean, do you show a lot of emotion here and there? I mean, kind of just take us inside your head when you're in the octagon.
Yeah, I don't tend to show much emotion, but it's not really a conscious thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first win I had, I over celebrated, and it still to this day embarrasses me. So I'll never do that again.
Okay, so now you're compensating for that is kind of what's happening.
It might be that, but I generally just stay even keel a lot.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy my time in there, so I'm not hyped up and super scared.
You were part of Dana White's Contender Series. You won a huge fight there that got you this UFC contract, and Dana White has since given you some praise, and I think a lot of folks see you as an up-and-comer. What's your mentality with those expectations on you, but also knowing that you really only have one UFC fight under your belt?
I think it's scary because people expect a lot from me, and I expect a lot from myself, so I know there's a lot of work to be done and a lot of pain to be felt.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to walk down the path, and I'm trying to just suck every minute of it up now because it's going to be gone before I know it. So.
Yeah, you're certainly aware of just the opportunity here in front of you, and again, already have accomplished a lot of great things. Talk about representing Reno, man. There's a lot of really talented fighters that have come out of our region, maybe not reaching the level that you're at, but still a lot of notable and talented people that I'm sure have got you to this point. You're coming out of the Reno Academy of Combat, which for 3 decades has been pumping out great fighters in this region. Just talk about representing your gym and this region.
I have a ton of pride representing my gym and Reno because I just love the city. And I think there's something to be said about our elevation and the people that come out of this city, the athletes that we produce. Sometimes don't go on to do great things, but in relativity to a huge city like LA or somewhere in California, we pump out some really great athletes. But I have so much pride, and I'm the first one to really be in the UFC out of the gym and to really stick with them and stay loyal. So I just have a lot of pride, and I hope that a lot of people follow my path at my gym.
So what's next for you as we stand here at the end of January, start of February? Are you looking to get back in pretty quick here with the UFC?
Yeah, I'm just waiting to hear back from them. I kind of gave them when I was good to go, and I picked some names, and I guess it's just on their end lining all the business stuff up.
Yeah.
But till then, I'm just going to train and try to get better every day and help my teammates out as well.
I guess if you could peel the curtain back for us a little bit. So you win your UFC debut. Your name is certainly on the map a little bit. What does the process look like now to get your next fight? You mentioned you maybe suggested some people you'd like to fight. Is it people that say, I want to fight Payton Talbot, or do they just kind of figure out a matchup and then you agree to it? How does that all work?
I think they kind of figure out a matchup. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I think I just talked to my manager, and they gave me like 3 names, and I picked the one that I liked out of all of them, which was the toughest and the most like me. So I'm just waiting for them to come to a common agreement in terms of pay or whatever.
Okay.
I don't really know.
So we're thinking early this year, though, potentially, like
Yeah,
within the
first-
next few months.
Yeah, first quarter this year.
Oh, love to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Is there anybody else you want to maybe give some shout outs to for getting you to this point? I know as we sit here now, you're just coming from a weight training session with one of your trainers, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people that keep you in the condition you need to be in.
Yeah, shout out to my gym and everybody that helps me at Reno Academy of Combat. Family First Chiropractic, they've helped me out a lot, just keeping me healthy. Pro Bar, who's been sponsoring me with like some supplements, and Mike Kelly, who I've been working out with, that kicked my ass this morning. So
Glad you could limp over to our Nevada Sportsnet studio. We appreciate that, man. I guess more so on your ascension. I mean, to think that you started this just out of high school is kind of crazy to me, because it's only, 6-7 years ago. To get to this point, would you have expected it at this moment?
no, not at all. I didn't really see pro fighting being a career path of mine until I was about like 3-0 as a pro. So, and then let alone getting in the I got into the UFC after 2 years of being pro. So that's like unheard of.
That's a rarity. Yeah, I'll say. Yeah, you technically set the bantamweight record for most significant strikes in a contender series. That's why you got yourself a UFC contract. I want to play some video, because soon after your win, they featured you at the Nevada men's basketball game against UC Davis. They do, at the start of the second half, the air raid siren, and we got Payton Talbot on the air raid siren. I want you to take me through this effort, because it was pretty impressive. You just kept on going. Tell me what this moment was like for you.
It was cool. I loved the siren. I didn't even really know what it was until
Yeah,
I
you just
did
kept
it.
on going.
But I couldn't hear the dinger, so I just kept going until somebody was going to tell me to stop. And I actually just had surgery on my finger, so you can see him like sticking my finger out on the cranking hand. So
Look at the effort.
trying to crank it like Soldier Boy.
Yeah, exactly. I got to say, that's like maybe a top effort in the whole season, if you ask me. There's only been a handful of home games, but we got to let this ride a little bit, because think about the energy that Payton is expending right now as you're getting some help from Alfie down below, keeping it steady for you. Now, we're just going to let this ride out a little bit. So typically people have wrapped it up by now, but you're like, I'm going to play through the horn, which is fine. You got to play through the whistle, sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And then when someone's adjusting their pants, something's coming, right? Take us through this effort. Hey-o.
Yep.
You haven't been kind of tired after the siren, too.
A little, yeah, but I had some energy from the crowd for sure.
Thousands of people in there. You better not mess up that backflip.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, just tell me what it feels like to go into an octagon and be able to have your hands raised as a winner.
It's bittersweet for me, because it means that the fight's over and all the work's done and everything. So like all of the enjoyment is over. I feel like getting my hand raised is like the least satisfying part of the fight. I
Interesting.
really enjoy being in there, the whole process of it. And then as soon as I get my hand raised, I'm just like, all right, it's over.
Back to normal, huh?
Yeah, back to eating, back to normal life.
Hey, you do get a check when you win, though, so that's pretty cool, too. Remember the name. He is Payton Talbot, our latest legendary athlete and a rising star in UFC.
Legendary Athletes is sponsored by Legends Bay Casinos, celebrating 1 year in Northern Nevada.